Oh, I like that. So good morning. My name is Scott Forcino. I'm with associate broker with eXp Realty out of New York City in the metro area. I founded PlugIntro so people can stop the chase, I like to say. They can promote their business through introductions. They can be local famous, and it solves the problems of not enough people to meet and really not enough value to offer them. Today we have Connor with us today, and I want to introduce him and let us know more about his experience, what he brings to his clients, and what he feels about the local business market and real estate transactions. Good morning, Connor.
Good morning, Scott. Thank you.
So happy you're here. I'm jealous. We're in New York where it's 30 degrees and you're in Florida where it's probably 80.
Yeah, right. It's going to be at some point today. That's it. That's
Oh,
a for sure thing.
I hate it. But glad to have you here. So tell us about yourself, your company, your background, your experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Connor Rowe. I'm actually from Minot, Maine originally, a little small town, born and raised. After I graduated high school, went to South Carolina for a couple of years to go to college. And my idea was to go further south to get out of the cold. And unfortunately, it still got cold there. So I'm like, this isn't going to work. So here I am in Florida, 5 years later, enjoying it, soaking in the sunshine every day and going that path. But I love it.
That's great. How long are you with your current company? Who is that?
Yep. So right now I'm with eXp Realty. I've been with them for 4 years now. When I first started 5 years ago, I started with a local mom and pop company. Just new to the business, didn't really know what's going on, didn't really do my due diligence of interviewing, a bunch of agencies or anything like that. So I kind of got what I got. Luckily, I was able to get with a good team right from the beginning. And what happened was they kind of introduced me to eXp because they were moving over. And it just seemed like a no-brainer at the time. And here we are 4 years later.
Wow, I'd love to hear that. And I know that eXp is cloud-based and agent-owned, so it really appeals, I would guess, to your demographic, where you're maybe not going to be really taking part in the old-fashioned ways.
Yeah, I kind of came in as a younger guy. I was 19 when I first started. I'm 24 right now, but just seeing that everything's like tech-related, it just seemed like the right thing. So here I am at my house right now, doing work. I can wake up when I want. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying I'm sleeping until noon, but I can get up at 7 in the morning and not have to drive 30 minutes to an office space or an hour to an office
Right.
space. Or
Interesting.
Yeah.
And how has that tech and that forward thinking affected you, your clients, and your work with buyers and sellers?
Oh, it's amazing. I think the world right now is transitioning into a more tech digital world. So for instance, we're doing more FaceTime showings, Zoom showings than ever. And it's just something you have to adapt to. So being with eXp, we kind of already took that first step 4 years ago before everybody else really had this opportunity.
Interesting. Where do you find your buyer leads or contacts? Are they referral based? Are they online lead gen? How does it work for you?
A little bit of everything. We have a huge referral source from past clients, other agents, that kind of stuff. We have a platform, so we're paying for leads to come through, mostly out of state people looking for vacation homes that are investment properties, as well as social media. I myself have started getting into social media a little bit more. I now realize how important it is. Again, being with this whole transition of everything going online and everything else, I've actually gotten a few quality leads during the past few weeks from social media alone. So, I'm stepping up my game on that, hoping to get some more.
And what do they see? They see a post of yours and find some value in it. What's your effort?
Yeah, it's crazy. So right now specifically, it's all TikTok, which I was the biggest person about TikTok. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. And finally, I'm like, all right, I'm going to give in. And what I do is I post, more stuff about me personally, let people know who I am, kind of what I like to do, things like that. But where these leads are coming from on TikTok is I'll go through, I'm showing properties, doing video tours, and I'll post like, this is what $200,000 gets you in Fort Myers. This is what $1 million looks like in Cape Coral. And it's really just people like to see that kind of stuff, and sparks their interest, and they reach out if they're in the market too, look for something similar.
Right. I mean, I look at that and that's a great form of advertising, and it's in step with the times. It looks like that content is of interest to them, number one. And number two, it seems like those people are the people that are consumers. They're looking for that. If they bought a house yesterday, they may not be caring about what's on the market today.
Right.
I want to, inject some information about PlugIntro and how it helps you and others. PlugIntro is not about that content where someone might find of interest if they're a consumer. It's actually the opposite. People, instead of consuming, are producing. They're producing within their profession or their business. and they are really not giving content where people can gawk at or be consumed by. They are really offering something of value to others. Like I know in your group, you have white collar, blue collar, the plumbers, the electrician, the trades, the professionals, the dentists, the chiropractors, or even the businessmen, the DJs and the limo and the restaurant owners. The point in my group with PlugIntro for Sino is I don't have any content. I offer them the chance to promote themselves and deliver their content. And they'll always be more interested in giving information about themselves than something temporary. Look at, a beautiful home that may be of interest to them. So, I mean, that's a different take. I believe in social media, and what I'm happy you're participating in is the local business media where, you get referrals, but I would guess, tell me if I'm right, your business and that of your company is really mostly local.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's one of those things where you obviously use an electrician, you've got a landscaper, you probably got a pool guy, you probably have all these certain things. And when you sell real estate, you have clients that want that too. So if you can help each other out by connecting and referring each other to someone like, and trust, just makes the process, one, smoother, and two, it's just a good referral source,
Yep.
instead of just looking on Google for, the top agent or however you want to sort it out, and hoping that they're going to be good. You already have that knowledge of knowing, like, all right, I know someone that's worked with this person, we trust them and they're going to do a good job for you.
Right. That's the comfort level. And that's, you can't be of value to a client unless you have these resources. And I think it's, I've been frustrated myself where I've been in rentals where I had to do it again. And I thought, what's the point of this? I'm not familiar with this area. And I was getting no clue as to who would be, even where's pizza? Where's our church? Where's the best places for kids? You need that insight.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's powerful. Well, tell me, I mean, in this market, I'd love to hear more about the Fort Myers and the greater area, how it is. And we hear of Florida exploding in values. How are you navigating the buyers and the sellers?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. In the past, the problem was always trying to get buyers and sellers, right? Or mostly buyers, for instance, right? Sellers always came and go like they do. But the problem was like, all right, I need a willing, able, and ready buyer. Well, now we have 10 million of them and we don't have any listings. So it's kind of a transition. Again, I keep using that word, but it is. Everything's moving over. The market's absolutely crazy. And one of those things, back to the whole technology thing and advancing with the times, a lot of people aren't able to stay in Florida for multiple weeks at a time, just hoping that their home pops on the market, that dream home they're looking for. So for us, it's like, as soon as something hits the market, within a couple hours, you have to be there pulling them up on Zoom or FaceTime to show them the property. So you're working a little bit harder. You have to be a little bit smarter. You have to know the contracts, because a lot of people think it's about sales price, going as crazy as you can, over asking. They think that's what's going to get the job done, which is true, to a certain extent, but it's also about making the contract aggressive, right? There's other things you can do in there opposed to just making a crazy high sales price that looks appealing to sellers.
Have you seen any buyers either willingly or being forced to waive contingencies like inspection or mortgage? Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's different things for certain price points, right? Like you get towards more luxury stuff, $1 million plus, $1 million, $2, $3 million. They want cash, no financing contingencies, no appraisal, no inspection. Like they want to. It's crazy, stuff that you would never advise a buyer to do in the past is almost a standard now. So what we like to do is, obviously, if they are going to see it or do it sight unseen through FaceTime, at least know that they can come down for an inspection period, whether it's 3 days or 5 days or whatever you can negotiate. As long as the buyer can come in time for that, see the house themselves, make sure they're opening all the doors and closets and look underneath the sinks, make sure there's no leaks. Certain things like that we recommend to do if you're going to do it sight unseen.
So there's really no contractual contingencies, but I think everyone, in a way, in a very professional manner, gives a little bit of a grace or due diligence period to see if the house is standing up or if there's a highway running through it.
For
right?
the most part, yeah. I mean, there's obviously some circumstances where there's no inspection period at all, no due diligence period. But, we always try to get at least a few days for the buyer to, if they get the offer accepted, come in town and see it in person, one time before their escrow is in jeopardy.
Interesting. Is this the top of the market in your area as of, I guess, March 1st, 2022? Is it going to get higher? Is it?
It's hard to say. I think it's still going to go up personally. And the reason I say that is Florida's always been popular, right? We have the snowbirds, we have the retirees, we have people coming here for investment purposes. We have people coming here because there's no, what's what I'm looking for?
No
No
state
income.
income tax too.
There it is. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So there's always been a reason people want to come to Florida. Now with this whole COVID thing going on, it's been going on for a couple of years now. There's other motives to come to Florida, if you will, without getting political or anything like that. That's one of the reasons, So we're seeing people in heaps and waves coming down. And on top of that, it's so busy already with buyers coming in such a short inventory of listings. It's never going to catch up tomorrow. Like if all these buyers stop showing up tomorrow, right? There's still so many out there that don't have homes that are still looking that it's going to keep going up for the time, for the times right now.
Sure. I mean, Florida has another thing where it has a seasonal rental, and a lot of states don't really have. Michigan doesn't have a seasonal. I mean, New York does have a summer seasonal, and Florida has a winter seasonal. I mean, that's another big part of the economy where it's a tourist destination. So there's that built-in demand.
Yeah, and it's crazy because our season is opposite from everywhere else. Like you just said, people come here in the wintertime, not the summertime, where, up north or anywhere else that's beautiful like that. They want to go in the summertime, get the nice weather. Here, it is like that, but we've seen more people full time now than ever. Normally you can see like the swings, like as far as house sales and everything like that, it's more winter, spring, you'll have more closings because that's just when they're coming in town, going under contract. It's been so steadily increasing. It's something that we've never seen here in the last 5 years that I've been here in real estate.
Well, that's an exciting time because you are really not looking for clients. However, it's frustrating with what are sellers doing if they're selling at the top of the market? I mean, unless they're leaving the state, what's their plight? Are they back in the buyer's position?
Well, you see, that's kind of the problem too, right? You would think sellers want to cash out, get all the money in the world, right, and move on to something else. Well, what they would get with that money is equivalent to what they currently have. So even though they just made 300 grand to buy a house, 300,000 more than what they would get, it's going to be kind of the same situation they're going to be in. So I think that's also causing the problem with not a lot of inventory because these sellers don't want to sell unless they have someplace already to go, right? So people that are here full time, people that are using it as a seasonal property, whatever, they're not wanting to sell. It's the people that have it, have multiple homes, that kind of thing, or they just want to cash out and rent somewhere else or move away. They're not selling, because they know the same thing. If they were to sell, they're in the same position. Now they're bidding for properties over asking, and they're in that same cycle that nobody wants to be in right now.
It's interesting. That's interesting. Well, I mean, I know that these transactions are a bit tougher based on the demand and based on the scarcity. That's a challenge to the realtor who can make this stuff happen. But we know that all transactions are really a team effort. It's collaborative with your referral partners. Who are some of the partners? I don't mean by name, but tell our viewers who you use or who you team up with to close a deal. What are the categories?
Yeah, so obviously we have the lending side. You want to work with somebody that's really good at what they do, knows the market in and out just like you do, has kind of a tougher pre-approval process because that way we know if they do get pre-approved for a certain amount, it's most likely going to close unless the buyer does some crazy stuff like goes and buys a car, right before closing happens. Your home inspectors are super important, especially right now where you have shorter inspection period times, for your due diligence. You want to work with somebody that that can get in there in a whim. Like if you go under contract right now, they'll be there in 12 hours or so. That way we're not playing around, wasting time. That's super, super important, as well as other agents. It's good to have that other connection. If you're in a bidding war with somebody and the listing agent, just a simple phone call like, hey, what's the seller looking for? How can we make this offer look better without, necessarily telling you what the right offer is? They can kind of give you a good idea of what it might take to get the job done.
I spent last winter in Jupiter, and I love that area. And I was dealing with some insurance professionals in my business, and I was hearing that premiums have basically doubled, and there's a whole roof issue now for 20 years. What do you know? I don't know much more than that. What do you know about the insurance issue?
Yeah, it's becoming kind of a headache too. So actually, we have a deal under contract right now where the roof is kind of towards the end of its lifespan. And because of that, and with the storms that we have and everything else, and just the insurance in general, they don't even want to insure it. So here we are scrambling 2 weeks before closing, trying to get a new roof and pull permits and all that kind of stuff on it. So that's kind of the only firsthand experience I have with it personally. But yeah, I'm hearing stories for sure.
Yeah, I've been reading that before this coming hurricane season, they need, no pun intended, this roof issue buttoned up because they're concerned about the crazy claims that have happened in the past. I know there's steel roofs. It's something that really, I guess, the southeastern state has to worry about with that kind of storm damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because here in Southwest Florida, Fort Myers specific, every time there's a hurricane coming, it looks like it's coming straight at us, like head on. And for some reason, right before it hits, it goes either up north towards the Gulf and towards Destin.
Yeah, I know about 2 or 3 years ago. What was it? Maria missed you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy because it looks like we're going to get completely plowed. And it just like somehow, next thing you know, you wake up and you got a little wind and rain and that's it. It goes somewhere else.
Yeah, well, I think that, in my business, I've been in a long time, and it's been really, really valuable to both network and offer value to our local business owners because they're kind of looking out for you. But before PlugIntro, before I created this platform for myself and then offered it to others, I didn't have enough to offer them. You'd find yourself networking, which really meant to me asking for business, and there wasn't something really concrete that you could offer them. Now with this platform, if anyone, or when Connor puts together a group and offers people a chance to promote themselves, I think that creates two things: a chance for reciprocation and a chance to meet anyone. Because Connor's clients have cousins and business owners that Connor would never have met. He can't ask for who do you know from college, who's the moms from school, who's the people who's your jeweler. Never would happen. Yeah. But if you put them together in a little business forum such as this, I mean, for me, I've gained clients just because I'm the realtor that is positively affecting them, giving them a place to promote their own company.
Yeah, and power in numbers. You get someone like me on here, and I invite my, like you said, lenders, title companies, inspectors, whatever. They might know somebody as well that needs some kind of person that we have in the group that they may not have a good connection with beforehand. So, the more it grows, the more it's going to be beneficial to everybody involved.
Yeah. And, the realtors, I want to say this, I'm going to pretend that only realtors are listening to this, which I know is not the truth. But yeah, to me, it's been too much of a one-way street where realtors refer business like crazy. Every deal, you basically refer one or two or three people. And unfortunately, it's not reciprocated. And some of it is not anyone's fault because the realtor meets the person first. The home inspector definitely does not meet someone first. Right. So that's why it's really more incumbent to find, I think, for a real estate professional, if they want a level playing field, I think it's a chance for the person who normally gains referrals to go out of their way and make introductions of their contacts. And if you really think about it, everyone has clients and friends and family and local business owners. It's with our PlugIntro platform, we really just sliced a piece off Facebook and gave Connor his own group. So we have the functionality and the ease and convenience of the use of Facebook, where you invite them to the group, create some videos, meet some people, no pressure, a lot of fun.
Yeah, yep. And like you said, someone knows somebody, right? So instead of us just always trying to get the clients and referring them to people, with this platform, we're also in front of their face, not 24/7, but pretty close to it, right? So we're always top of mind, which is super important in any business.
Yeah, I believe strongly in top of mind. And top of mind sometimes doesn't go enough because that may only come up when there's a conversation about real estate. But in this case, if a person is looking to really promote themselves, they can. And, PlugIntro is also much, like, as we know, in step with the times. It's cloud-based. So is Amazon. So is Google. So is all the social media sites. And it's on demand. It's not, the old days you had to get in front of the TV when the show came on, or this is when you want, 7 o'clock at night, 7 in the morning. So yeah, it's really, you're carrying your own and your contacts' business opportunities in your pocket on your phone. And who would have thought about that just a few years ago?
Right, exactly. And it's cool because it's face to face. It's video to video, people are hearing your story, seeing you, seeing how you are, your personality, things like that, which is, super nice as well.
Right. I mean, there's people who with compelling stories, some with family, some with career, some with accomplishments. There's or really something to say. I mean, I think that in the real estate sphere, everybody talks about real estate. Everyone's even if they're just if there's 5 million deals in America about 2022 or 2019 or something, but there was 100 million page views on Zillow. So that means 95% of people are just lookers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's always such an interest. And people say to you, how many times a week? How's the market? And then now how's the rates? And, what's the climate? And how much can we get for our house? It's got to be all day.
Oh yeah, it is. It truly is. It sounds like a broken record saying the same things over and over and over again. But you're right. I mean, people just want to know. They're curious. Especially from someone who's in Florida, selling in Florida. Other states, it's funny. People, friends, family from other states are more curious than people even in Florida. They just want to know. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, look at the people in Florida. They, before COVID or 3-4 years ago, they were just in a normal world. All of a sudden, they almost hit a gold mine. I know in the area, Palm Beach County went up 40%. So someone just did great by living in their home.
Yeah, exactly. Doing something you do on a normal basis, and now it's worth a ton more money. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, that's fantastic. If you could, go somewhere else with that money, and but now you're stuck with the Florida buying scene. That's true. Well, listen, I mean, you and I were just chit chatting. Why? I mean, what I want to hear more about your area. I mean, I know the beaches and the spring training and the Naples, as far as the stores and restaurants. Give me some flavor about your area.
Yeah, absolutely. So our area is, in my opinion, so awesome for so many reasons. First of all, the weather, right? Everyone's like, oh, well, you go to Florida, it's gonna be warm. That's not true. I'm sure with your experience as well, you go further up in Florida and it gets colder and colder, even in the wintertime. I'm actually a big fan of Destin, Florida. But because of the weather and it does get cold and they kind of get seasons up there, I don't want to live there full time. I'm coming to Florida because I want to be warm in the winter, not cold, especially being from Maine originally. So there's like an invisible line right above where we live in Fort Myers where it's 10, 15 degrees warmer here in the wintertime. So when it's like 50s, 60s somewhere else, it's still 70s, 80s here, which is super cool.
Mm-hmm. Plus you have the Gulf, beautiful Gulf for sunsets every day.
Oh, you can't beat the Gulf. The water's super nice. The beaches are awesome. And right here in Fort Myers is almost like the hub. We have RSW, which is our airport. You can get pretty much anywhere from there. But as far as beaches too, we have Fort Myers Beach, but when you go towards Naples, Florida, a little bit further south, it's a different type of beach, a little bit different sand, different water. Same thing, you go a little bit north of Fort Myers, a little bit different sand, different water, like Minnesota Beach and Venice and all them, they have shark teeth. So Fort Myers is just the perfect area where you can get to anywhere easily, things like that. We're growing. It used to be more of a retiree place. We got Top Golf now, Pop Stroke, more things that are fun for all ages, which is super cool. And it's just good diversity. We have families, retirees, vacationers, snowbirds, a little bit of everything. So I'm just a huge fan of it. And you look at palm trees all day.
I know that Naples, I've spent some time. There's a lot of culture too. You don't lose the Northeast cities culture. I found there to be quite a great enrichment experience for children. A lot of community based, a lot of evening activities because the weather lends itself to that. It sounds like a great destination, even for families starting out or for the people who've had enough and got to get out of where they live.
I mean, that's exactly it. And sometimes even these younger families were those people, that were coming out from other states. And I always make the joke, everybody in Florida isn't from Florida.
Oh,
If you
sure.
ask anybody, you go to bars, restaurants, anywhere, and you're just talking with people, you're like, oh, where are you from? It comes up every time.
Oh,
And
sure.
there's not one person that says Florida. It's hilarious.
It's fun. I was on the East Coast, and I mean, I was seeing people from New York walking around. I know you, and if you look at social media at this time of year, you get major FOMO because you're seeing people that that are hanging out, having a dinner outside. The other day, I was putting some salt down so the ice didn't freeze up. So you get so mad about it, and I know that's a driving force to get down there and live the rest of your life the best way possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny you said that, you run into people you've seen and know. Every time I fly back and forth from Fort Myers to Maine, there's somebody I know on that flight. It never fails every single time. I'm like, oh, hey, you got a place down here? Yeah, I do. Oh, cool. Again, it's just like people you wouldn't expect or know, they're out and about and they're trying to enjoy this
Yeah.
nice weather like
I mean,
everybody else.
that adds to the sense of community, someone familiarity and the comfort level. It's great. But, Connor, I'm really happy that you are offering this platform for your contacts and your community and your referral partners, because I know this makes a big impact on them. Not only can you and others promote yourselves to the group, but really important point is that PlugIntro, and as real estate professionals, we come from a place of contribution, offer others the opportunity to gain and benefit collectively in a positive way. So I'm thankful you're here. We're going to have this video series. We'll conduct meetings, and the goal is to make sure everyone wins in their business approach.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for creating something like this. Again, it gives us agents a different perspective as far as mingling with other people and connecting everybody and possibly getting that business back. And, like you said, just promoting yourself, something that, we try to do, but when we do it, it seems like we're tooting our own horn too much on social media. So
Right.
having
I mean, my knock on social media is it's not social. It's just a broadcast. Look at me, look at me.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
also, I need this and I need that. So I think it's really a great idea, instead of just attracting attention, but to earn attention, make sure someone else gains, really offer them something of value, provide them a seat at the table, a digital position, but don't keep score. So if you help 10 people and 3 think of you, that's great. Just keep it going. Give until it hurts, we like to say.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Yeah. Well, my pleasure meeting you. We're looking forward to a big rest of the year. Your contacts will definitely look forward to knowing more about you and us knowing more about them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Scott.
Okay. Until next time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Take care now.
Bye.